My name is Jake Hansen. I'm the video production teacher at Nordhoff High School. I went to Brooks Institute of Photography for film school, and it was kind of a mixed bag of skills, technical and creative, which really helped me think more critically about filmmaking and what I was trying to accomplish. Film school is a great tool to learn to think more critically about film because you have a variety of different teachers that all approach the subject from a different standpoint, but they all use a very similar diction. So your vocabulary with film becomes very refined, and how you analyze structure becomes very specific as you bring all these different sources and opinions into your own style of filmmaking, which is pretty resourceful. Although not really appropriate for high school students, one of my favorite filmmakers is Todd Solondz. He's not a very big name in Hollywood, but his method of storytelling for me is just very exciting. The way he develops each character and works those characters into the story is just, he does it in a way that you don't see with a lot of filmmakers. No one filmmaker tells the story the same way. Each one, especially the big directors, have their own way of telling a story, which is why they become the big name directors. So it's nice to kind of be able to pick and choose from each one as you build your own tool set. The film industry is very organized and very specific, and there's not a lot of room for error. When error is intentional, there's not a lot of room for forgiveness, which is how I thought I'd be able to run a high school class initially. But I've kind of found that at this level, you really just have to let the students experiment with their own creativity and sort of boost up their technical skills along the way, because they're not entering the classroom with the same mindset that someone in a college program would. So my approach now is more just supportive based, where I try to run the class slightly like a production company. Ideally, it would be nice to run the class more rigorous in a way, but there's just not the opportunity to do that with the students at the level that they're at. Some of the most fun things with creating the new program was expanding into Adobe After Effects and getting some better cameras for the advanced students to play with. The advanced students are a little more familiar with the vocabulary and structure of filmmaking, so I can approach their curriculum a little more advanced, a little more similar to a college curriculum. I changed the intro curriculum a lot to be more focused on storytelling in a way, because there's so much technical information that intro students can't grasp all of it in 1 year. But focusing on storytelling is something they can grasp, because students are also taking English courses in which they're analyzing story and structure, and then they come to my class and we talk more about story and structure. And that is kind of the most important thing when it comes to video production, is understanding what your story is. Even in documentary, there's a story to be told, but understanding how a story can unfold and will unfold, it's pretty essential. The skills intro students will be learning as they enter my program is camera, editing, a little bit of lighting, a whole lot of storytelling and structure. We look at different genres, feature filmmaking, short storytelling, a little bit of documentary, and then kind of more like sport videos and stuff like that. But the main emphasis is always on storytelling, because that's kind of the blueprint that everything in filmmaking branches off from. The key concepts that need to be learned in this class to really succeed in video production: how and why a camera works and gets the image that it has, how to use the lights to manipulate that image, how to use a green screen, how to use microphones, how to balance audio before you export your final product, how to treat your subjects properly in a filming scenario so that your actors don't feel disrespected, or if you're interviewing someone, how to treat them properly so that they'll give you a good interview. It's pretty important. When I initially took this class myself here at Nordhoff, when I was a high school student, I didn't really understand how to find an interesting story, and even the most simple things, which would have really helped me in video production, because I had access to a lot of technical equipment and it was very easy for me to learn that stuff because I'm more technically minded, but I didn't know what to film and why to film it. For an example is, when I was in high school, I thought of stories as big Hollywood movies. I didn't really know what a low budget independent film was. I didn't know what foreign films were. I didn't understand the concept and structure of documentary or commercial or music video. So I was trying to write scripts that involved tons of people and lots of locations, which is a really hard thing to do at a student level. What it would have been nice to have known is that you can make a story from anything. Like, you can approach a tree and you can say, what kind of tree is this? How old is this tree? What ecosystem does it take part in? Or you could look at a chair and say, what company built this chair? What is this? Who is this company? How big are they? Do they take part in the massive industrial super complex that is part of our society? With more narrative storytelling, I had no idea that you could just focus on one person and how that person fits into the world and how they view themselves. And that would have been really nice to have known when I was a student, because my ideas were just way too big. Don't be afraid to be creative. I think a lot of people think that they need to fall into a specific mold with a class, because a lot of classes that people have taken up to this point have been very structured curriculums where, like an English teacher, they really need to teach you a certain concepts and themes before the end of the year. So your year is very planned out, whereas when you come here, you can learn something and then take it and use it. You can learn something and not use it. And ultimately, when you create something, it's really a reflection of yourself and what you've learned. It's not just creating work to fulfill the assignment criteria, I think, like most classes. It's been around for a long time. The video production program, I'm pretty sure, started at Nordhoff in the early 2000s, possibly late 90s, and so it's been a program at the school for over 20 years. And I'm assuming it's probably going to keep going because the school has offered a lot of resources to maintain it. We have like a large classroom, we have a soundstage studio. It would just be a waste to end the program, so I think it'll continue on in that way. And I think the future of the program is going to push more towards animation and special effects and the use of the green screen technology, because that's where filmmaking is heading. Like independent and filmmaking will always be around in that way of low budget and like small, intricate sort of stories, but a lot of people who take this class, again, like when you don't have a lot of knowledge about filmmaking, you always think of the big Hollywood videos as being what filmmaking is. And the more you can learn about visual effects and taking your story and adding visual effects to them, the closer you get to that image. So I think the future of this program will be more like live television broadcast oriented in one half, and on the other half, very story-based narrative storytelling with an emphasis on using special effects to drive that theme. If you're a prospective student thinking about taking this class, I would say that you definitely should, in the fact that it's a fun class where you really get to experiment with creativity and sort of learn the technical skills along the way to do that. But I would be very wary on actually taking the class if you're not looking to, pay attention and maintain a sense of memory of all the information that you are learning, because if you decide to completely ignore a couple weeks worth of lectures on the technical aspects of filmmaking and then want to go and make your own story, you're not going to be as successful as if you're committed to the program as a whole. So I wouldn't take the program thinking, oh, I just want to focus on After Effects and I don't care about storytelling, or you just want to focus on storytelling and you don't care about how to use a camera. Then I would say you might want to give a second thought to whether or not you really want to take this class, because this class is really about taking all the little details and combining them into the big picture. My name is Jake Hansen. I'm a video production teacher at Nordhoff, and I would encourage anybody who's even remotely curious about filmmaking to consider the course, and don't be afraid to express themselves once they're in the class.
Thank you.